In my previous video, I got this whole airbag mechanism together, and then I couldn't finish the welding because I ran out of welding gas. Well, I got my supplies, so we can conclude the welding, connect some airlines, and see if we can make this thing go up and down. I can't wait. Hey, how's it, you oaks, and welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Duff. I run a small one-man shop out in the middle of a forest on a small farm near a town called Mossel Bay in South Africa. And I'm busy with this 1939 Hudson cab. I've got an Isuzu frame here, busy building a rat truck, and I'm working on this airbag suspension setup that I'm hoping to get working today. Well, back from town with a full bottle, but this old guy does not have the strength anymore to pick this heavy thing up and put it on top of my welding cart. And in case you're wondering, they didn't have any of the smaller bottles, and this one does actually offer better value for money. So I guess it's time for SOS mode. If you don't know, SOS stands for slower, older and smarter. So we bring good old mechanical advantage into play. I'm going to hoist it up with my overhead gantry. How easy is that? Now I can just drive my cart in underneath. Now it's just a simple matter of driving my cart in underneath the bottle, line it up, and I can lower it down. So before I weld these arms onto the torsion bar extensions, I'm just going to take the airbag out again. I want to test it and verify how much it can actually compress. So I'm just going to unbolt it and stick it on my bench and clamp it down, and we can measure the compression, which is important to know for me to set up these arms correctly. So I'm going to use this big ass old clamp here to squash the bag down and see how far it goes. And then I would like to measure that height. So let's see. It's a bit flippity floppity, but it's working. So that's as far as I've got it compressed. If I measure here, I measure 4 inches to the top of the rubber, but the metal disc, whatever you want to call it, is down by about ½ an inch. So my effective compression or compressed distance is about 3½ inches. I seem to recall that the specs for these D2600 bags was maximum compression of 2.8 inches. But I think I'm going to work with the 3½ I've got. Why take it to the absolute extreme? Let's just see if I squash the clamp down. Yeah, it can go a little bit more. So I've taken both bags out and I've installed my piece of threaded bar again. And this is actually working really well for holding my arms in place, and I can now measure here. So I've set it with nuts here, that's holding it very nicely, and I've checked it at 3 inches, 75 mil or 76 mil, all the way around both sides. So that's working well. So this is where the arms will sit under total compression. And the front suspension here is down as much as it can go. It's jamming on the wishbone there, so there's no way that this end can drop more, which if I use my brains, means that there's no ways that this arm can move in more to compress the bag more than the 3 inches that I've set here. So I think this is the position for welding the arms. Because if we lift the front of the chassis or the frame up now, those arms in the back there has to move the other way. Another check here to see that things are symmetrical. Of course, my piece of threaded bar is helping me to make sure it's all centered. So that's looking good. Another check from this angle to see that this arm is lined up with this arm. It's all looking good, man. Weld that bloody thing now, Tiffy. That should hold it for now. So let's take out this threaded bar, and then the arm should now stay where they are. Except I'm starting to think I might have snookered myself. I'm not going to get the threaded bar out. I'm going to have to cut it off, I think. Yes, definitely. Yes, the only way to get this out now is to cut it. Didn't think of that, did you? Well, it's not the end of the world. No, man, I'm not using my brains. If I just jack the front of the car off, up, the arms will move out to it, and there we go. It comes off the bars. Sometimes you just got to think about things a little bit. Should be able to get it out now. Let's see. Well, the arms are doing what they're supposed to be doing. As I'm jacking up, it's moving outwards. That's the action we want when the bag's compressed in. So I like that. That's looking good. Maybe still not. Close. Okay, I give up. I'm just going to cut it. There we go. I'm going to drop the jack down again. Let's see what happens. I like it. That was fun. Let's do it again. Jacking up, which would be airbags inflating. Nice. I love it. And airing out, airbags deflating. Yes, man. Now we gotta get those bags in and do it for real. Maybe I should just finish all my welding before we do that. Okie dokie, so I've got most of my welding done. I've got the airbags bolted in place. I still have to fully weld these arms down here, but I'll do that when I take them out again. It will be just so much easier. But there's enough welding here for now to test this thing. I got some airlines rigged up. These are 10mm. I couldn't find smaller, but I'm happy with this. I think it's going to be very good. I even made some P-clips to hold my airline securely in place. So my P-clip is just a little slice of pipe, and then I've got a bit of rubber tubing inside of the right diameter to ensure that there'll be no chafing. I welded on a little tab, and I've now bolted it to my cross member. So I'm going to use these P-clips for the airlines wherever they go, to ensure that they don't chafe and stay securely in place. So I'm going to have to actually make quite a few of them. So with my temporary airlines snaking all over the place, all I've got to do now to test drive this thing and see if it works is to connect the air supply to this pipe right here. And just for fun, I'm going to use this old school contraption for air control. Let me show you what it is. This is actually a high pressure tire inflation kit that was used on airplanes, specifically the Canberra airplanes that was flown by the South African Air Force in the late 60s. It's quite an interesting device, lots of old school engineering. I love it. Let me show you. So look at this. This is your inlet connection, so your air supply is connected here. You've got 3 different gauges. This one gives you inlet pressure. This one gives you control pressure. You can set the air that's being supplied to the outlet connection. You can set it here, and that pressure will be shown here. And this gauge shows the actual pressure that you will measure right here. In this case, it would be the tire pressure. And look at the range. It goes up to 60 bar. I mean, that is a hell of a pressure. If you want to know that in PSIs, you need to multiply it with about 14.5. And then this lever, it's got 2 positions. So if you stick it there, that will inflate. So it will let air out the outlet line. And if you push it down, it will deflate. It's quite a cool thing, eh? It's way overspec for the application considering these, the range of these gauges, but still, let's try it and see how it works. And here you can see the instructions on the inside of the lid. Very interesting. It's even got a circuit diagram up there. A whole lot of written information. And down there it's got a bar to PSI conversion table. And you can also see that this thing was made in the UK, in Surrey. So let's see how this thing's going to work. I'm going to connect the supply from my air compressor right here. And then on this side, I'm going to connect the pipe that supplies air to the bags. Now, I don't know if we've got any pressure here. Let's see. We move this up a little bit. I can see the gauge moving. I've got about, looks like 5 or 6 bar there on the gauge. So now if I push this lever, I should let air through. It's working. Very well too. Let's drop it down, deflate the bags. That's quite fun. And we lift. And we drop down. The gauges on this thing is actually pretty useless for my application. I mean, I've got 2 bar into the bags and I'm hardly registering here on this dial. But still, in principle it works great. I'm not going to use it however. Let me show you what I'm going to use for air control. So this is going to be my forest engineering style air control system for the truck in the end. There's a bit of a leak here on the quick coupler on the supply line that comes in here. So I've got a ball valve here, which is shutting off that air supply at the moment. If I open the ball valve, the air will flow like that into the airline going to the bags, and I will inflate. I will see my bag pressure right here, and if I open this ball valve, I will release air and we will drop down again. So to raise the truck, we open this valve. You can see a pressure reading there. The range on this gauge is not the best, I need to find a better one. And now if I open this ball valve, I'm going to drop the truck down when I release the air. How cool is that? Who needs solenoids and all sorts of electronic bullshit? Right, here's the full overview so we can see the whole business in action. I open my ball valve here. And we raise the truck. I open this ball valve. And we slam. How cool is that? Up. I can adjust my ride height by playing with this ball valve. And I can drop it down incrementally with this ball valve if I want to. I love it, it's working fantastic. And if we look at it from the front, I'm fully slammed at the moment. I'm going to open my one valve slowly to raise the truck. I can decide on my ride height by playing with my ball valve. And to drop it down, I'm going to open the release ball valve, if I can call it that. All that squeaks you're hearing, that's caused by bad rubbers on the wishbones. I still need to rebuild the whole front end as far as mounting rubbers and all the rest of it goes. So then hopefully we will get rid of that squeaky noise. Just squeaky rubbers, I'm going to have to sort that out for sure. So some guys have expressed a concern about the fact that I've got airbags on top of torsion bars, which essentially means that I'm double sprung. I don't think it's going to be a problem because we have different spring rates, and I think that the airbags will work long before the torsion bars come into play. I'm trying to figure the whole business out in my head, but I think it might end up being a sort of a progressive scenario where the airbags would work first up to a point and then the torsion bars will come into play. I guess we will just have to wait and see how it all pans out in the end. I do have a backup plan in case it doesn't work. If all else fails, I can get rid of the torsion bars and replace this part with another solid section. Then we don't have the spring steel here anymore, and then we will work only on the airbags. Let's wait and see. So I'm going to put the cab back on quickly just to make sure everything is good. I hope it still fits with my contraption that I measured correctly. Let's find out. So I got the cab back on and it's all working out, but it was a bit of a struggle. Let me show you why. It's because this old man is measuring too well. In here, let me shine a light in there. You can see those bolt heads. I didn't think of them, and now they're sitting tight against the cab, so we can expect some squeaks for sure in the future, unless I do something about it. So I guess next time I take the cab off, I'll make a plan to just provide a little bit of clearance there. But yeah, otherwise it's working out alright. Well, apart from that little snack, everything is working out, and I'm happy. So next up, I would need to sort out this back end, build my forelink and the rest of the airbag scenario. So I'm actually planning to cut this frame off right here. But we'll do that in another video. I'm done for today. Thanks very much for hanging out with me. I enjoyed your company out here in the forest. Until I see you again in the next video, have a lekker one.